let's begin with the vaccine rollout. Is it acceptable that the federal government is no longer setting targets?
Look, this is a complete admission of failure and incompetence by the Prime Minister. I mean, they had their Trade Minister out saying, well, look, everyone's going to have a jab, at least the first jab by the end of the year. And they know that they couldn't do that. So the Prime Minister was forced to put out a statement completely throwing Dan Tehan under the bus. They have no idea when they're going to complete this. And the problem is the government have raged against all the spot closures that have happened because of individual COVID outbreaks. And the only way we get past that is if we've created, 75% of Australians have been vaccinated. So the business recovery, the small businesses that have been affected, the international students, the international travel, which creates so many jobs in Australia, are all threatened by the government's incompetence. And there is no other way to describe it. They promised we were at the head of the queue. Remember, the Prime Minister said, we're at the head of the queue. We were really, in truth, the 72nd contract signed across the world. And we put our eggs then in one basket. And that basket, unfortunately, has had a significant hiccup with the blood clot issue. And now Australians are going to be exposed longer to the threat of COVID. The economy is going to be constrained by the threat of COVID. And COVID normal or pre-COVID normal life is a long, long way away. And this all is at the feet of Scott Morrison and Greg Hunt.
Do we also now have an issue, Stephen Conroy, with the messaging that's being put out by the federal government?
Well, I've been concerned for some time that in a rush to convince Australians to be vaccinated, the government and the chief medical officers haven't been being fully frank with the Australian public. And I can understand why people are saying, like Matt Canavan, well, look, I told you so. You've rushed too fast. You've not been fully frank with the Australian public, and now you've created the uncertainty in Australians' minds. And so I think, yes, we'll now have a slower take-up, even if we had the vaccine. And again, all of this rolls into the economic impact, which this government has demanded that all the states open up, demanded that the states get their act together. And at the end of the day, the most epic fail on the one thing the government can't shift the blame on is vaccine rollout.
And I noticed in the last few days, Stephen Conroy, that the Prime Minister is now making his announcements via social media.
He won't even front the public. Well, it's extraordinary.
Is he trying to appeal to all voters here?
Not in the slightest. I mean, he should be standing there in front of the cameras having to explain the position. And to be sneaking out Facebook posts late in the afternoon or evening or even late at night, as he did on Sunday, it's just not acceptable. He has to front up to the Australian public and, more importantly, be accountable for this debacle and incompetence. And the media should be demanding that he be holding press conferences and not hiding behind Facebook posts.